The Accra Metropolitan Assembly is preparing to shut down all landfill sites across the city as it takes a major step towards executing President Akufo-Addo's vision to make Accra the cleanest in Africa. Yesterday, a new solid waste transfer station was commissioned at Achimota in Accra. It has the capacity of holding at least 2,000 tons of waste daily, and the facility is operated by Zoom Park, a subsidiary of Zoom Lion Ghana. And here is the Mayor of Accra, Mohammed Ejaisu, was speaking at the commissioning.
As you may be well aware, in keeping with the declared vision of the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, we at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly are surging forward with plans to make Accra the cleanest city of Africa. You will recall that at our press conference of 7th May, just a little over a week ago, we outlined a number of headline actions to embark upon to set the stage for the effective pursuit of the Clean Accra agenda. At the top of our Clean Accra agenda is aggressive waste prevention or reduction. The cost of managing waste is huge and puts enormous pressure on the public treasury. A significant proportion of AMA's budget is allocated to refuse management. This ought not to be so, and so we can alter the balance if we can all revise our mindset and commit to using waste prevention methods and approaches in the conduct of our day-to-day affairs. Every little effort at preventing, reducing, or recycling waste helps. Let's not be in a haste to throw things away. Let's make it a point to reuse and recycle as many times as we can. Let's turn our biodegradable waste into compost at home, for our backyard gardens, farms, our lawns and plants. We must also change our product designs and manufacturing processes to limit the waste byproducts of the goods we consume or use. Next to waste prevention, on our scale of preference is the proper and cost-effective processing and disposal of waste. Once waste is created, it must be collected and properly disposed of.
The Mayor of Accra there. Well, there are 2 more transfers already in Accra, bringing the number to 3. The AMA says it's now paves the way for a shutdown of all landfill sites.
Commissioning this station, distances traveled by low-capacity vehicles and tricycles plying the city will now be considerably reduced. So also will be the travel time between collection points and dumping sites. Waste collection vehicles and tricycles operators no longer have excuses to dump waste at unauthorized sites. Any operator found fly tipping will be seriously dealt with according to the law. The Achimota transfer station has now paved the way for us to proceed with our next line of actions, which is to systematically close and evacuate all unauthorized dump sites in Accra. Operators of such sites must take steps to shut down operations immediately to avoid prosecutions. Likewise, all unauthorized tricycle operators must take steps to obtain the necessary licenses to formalize their operations to avoid seizure and prosecution.
And the Managing Director of Zoom Park, Yoxel Unal, explains the operating scope of the facility.
When waste are generated at homes, what the contractors do is that they go to collect the waste and then send it to a treatment plant or a landfill. But we've seen that most of the lands are getting exhausted. We are not getting lands now. The few that we have are also being filled up with refuse. So what we have designed in the waste integrated waste cycle, what you do is to have a transfer station, and it's like a holding area for the waste. You can have a semi-sorting, you can sort them, and then you can now transfer it or transport it to the treatment facility or the landfill. We've seen that the lands are getting filled up, and so we constructed this to be able to treat the waste, manage it in such a way that we will not have so many indiscriminate dumping. And so we are entreating all members of ESPA and the waste management contractors to use the facility so that your turnaround time will be very, very effective in discharging your duties. Now we haulage the waste from Accra to Pong, which is about 90 kilometers. So by the time a vehicle goes and come back, it has taken about 3 to 7 hours. And it's not helping the contractor to discharge its services effectively to the people of this country. And that's why this facility is being set up to be able to help and assist in having good service for the people of this country. And I think that we all have to commit. It's a commitment to all of us and the contractors and the municipal and metropolitan assemblies to patronize these facilities. It has been positioned in an area where it can have all the assemblies coming here. So all the contractors within Accra are entreated to come here. We will hold the waste, sort it, and then transfer it to the treatment plant. Accra generates about 3,000 tons of waste. This facility can take about 2,000. We also have one at Station that can also take about 2,000. So we have about 4,000 tons within these two facilities. And I think that if we're able to, it's able to contain the waste of the whole Accra. We've done that, it's able to contain the waste of Accra. And so once we utilize it well, I don't think we should have a challenge of waste in Accra. The issues about waste and problems, we see is not as a waste is resource. If we are able to ensure that the assemblies are complying and enforcing the laws, and people are also being committed, and we get dustbins at every house to discharge the waste into it, the waste will not get to the streets.
That was rather Joseph Siao Japan, who is chairman of the Jospon Group of companies there. Well, let's now speak to Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Kofi Adda on the broader picture of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. He joins me over the telephone. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse.
My pleasure.
Right. So President Akufo-Addo speaks about making Accra the cleanest city. We've seen what the Zoom Lion the group are doing about it. What is the plan to achieve what the president has set for himself as a vision?
Well, what the president has said is something that tells us that there's a lot that has been done for the entire nation. He used Accra as an example, being the capital of the nation, a place where most people from outside the country come to when they're coming here, largely by air and by sea too. I think what the president said is an example of what we need to do in every part of Ghana. And the beginning is just here. The plan is simply to implement a program that will make everybody responsible for cleaning around their environment. For instance, if you're in your house, you must sweep around your house. If you're in any commercial environment, you must sweep around that environment. And if you're a government institution or department or ministry, you must also sweep around that area. We in the ministry are evolving a comprehensive strategic plan to ensure that we take sanitation seriously. And we're also going to implement a total sanitation communication strategy that will address the attitudinal aspect of lapses in the sanitation, which simply means that the behavior pattern that we've lived along over the past years should change. And that strategic plan would identify all the responsibilities of all the players in the sector, whether it's government, whether it's businesses, whether it's individuals, households. We need to do something about that. And when we launch this strategic plan, alongside the total sanitation campaign strategy, we need to ensure that we start from one point and then spread on to other areas. I do not want to go to the details, but it won't be long. We'll launch this total sanitation communication strategy, and clearly we're beginning from the places where government leaders reside or work around, and then we'll also get all the inner city players, markets, what they do, to continue to do what they're doing and improve on that much better. And then we'll spread on to the regional capitals, to the districts, and to many other communities in our nation. The whole value chain of waste goes from sweeping and collecting to dumping and then treating or processing the waste into different things. There's a lot that has been done that's going to be spelled out in the strategic plan. The waste is a product, a product that would need to be processed and converted into compost that we can use to improve our cultivation in terms of organic agriculture, and then also some of the waste that cannot be processed into compost will have to go into being part of what supports the generation of electricity. And so the whole value chain of waste, as we term it, would go from collection and dumping to processing to generation of electricity to production of compost fertilizer. These are all part of the comprehensive strategy that we are involved in. It won't be long. You all hear about it. We debate it. And then we all reflect our viewpoints and our ideas into that. So, President,
it sounds like a brilliant idea. Yeah, you're beginning from Accra, and it sounds like a brilliant idea. You want to target attitudes, which is brilliant. Yeah. But many people have said that we often have plans, and they always remain plans on paper. They never get executed. What timelines are we looking at here, sir?
Well, if the timelines are looking at the plans that don't work. If the plans, let me say that perhaps others have plans that usually don't work. And we in the NPP, and I don't want to be too partisan about it.
You shouldn't,
but,
really.
Just to give us credit, we in the NPP brought about a youth employment program and also created the Zoomlion outfit that has been seen throughout the whole country. So that plan has turned into something that has improved the sanitation environment in a way. We need to move on one step further.
Okay.
And that's why.
So when are you starting? Can you give us a date?
That's why the dedicated minister has to deal with this. This is an endemic problem that needs to be addressed in a very fundamental way. And it's not just a matter of getting up and sweeping here and collecting here and announcing here and that sort of thing. It is thinking through the whole process thoroughly and deep enough and bringing up all the things that need to be dealt with for all of us to know our roles and responsibilities in that regard.
Right.
It won't be long. I think within the next month, the whole communication strategy will be unfolded. The strategy for the total sanitation plan will also be outdoor.
Okay.
So we're working behind the scenes on that, having all the stakeholder sessions, debating them and so on, trying to make sure that every stakeholder plays a part in it.
Okay.
So I'll give us about a month. You will hear the details.
A month.
You will see the rules being assigned, the responsibilities being carried out, and of course it involves resources. So the planning
now, since you've mentioned resources, sir, two quick questions, final questions I have for you. One is the nation spent a lot of resources instituting the Sanitation Day, the previous administration. You speak about targeting attitudes and getting people to clean the environment. What are you going to do about the Sanitation Day? Is it something that you're continuing? And when you answer that, I give you my final question.
Every day is going to be a Sanitation Day. Every day, every hour is going to be a Sanitation Day, a Sanitation hour. It's not a matter of getting resources and taking Nana Akufo-Addo or Honorable Kofi Addo and other ministers or regional ministers to one region or one district just one day.
So you won't continue. In effect, you won't continue in that style.
I said that during my vetting, and I said it many times afterwards, that the sanitation exercise is going to be continuous.
Okay.
And the resources are going to be shared to all the stakeholders, to all the players. Let everybody continue to do what they need to do every day, every week in their respective corners of the nation.
Okay.
Indeed, let me give you one example. If you go to any ministerial department, there should be a dedicated personal officer overseeing that function. Okay?
So is there, or you say there should, is there someone there like that already?
There should be. There should be.
So there isn't. Is that something you're working towards?
Oh, it's all part of the comprehensive strategy I told you.
Okay.
We are going to
now, you went to Anyako to assess the water situation there. What can you tell us about that trip?
I've not gotten there yet. I'm not going. I was in a workshop on the Greater Accra Metropolitan Authority project, which is meant to clean up Accra and improve the sanitation by way of ending open defecation.
Right.
So we're at that workshop. I'm taking a break to look at the areas around that part, around the Adan, Sogokope, and Anyako area. So
you're going to assess the water. You're going to assess the water situation there, and then what? What's the plan?
There's a project that's not completed yet. I'm going to look at that project and see what needs to be done so that we can continue to supply water to the people.
Okay.
So I have no idea all the details yet. When I get there, I'll know what needs to be done, and then I can brief you better on that.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on The Pulse. Kofi Adda is the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources there, bringing us up to speed on what his ministry is doing about sanitation. Of course, sanitation is a big problem in this country, so we hope that it will be resolved in good time.